Everybody, let's take a quick look at Tesla with some volume weighted average price levels. This is a 15-minute chart. Each candle is 15 minutes. As we know, the market gapped lower. As it did so, I put a volume weighted average price on the high, this gap here. And as long as we're below that, the average participant from that peak is losing money. This week, we gapped lower on Monday. I always have a volume weighted average price for the week on my chart. And you can see how Monday the buyers came in but lost control towards the end of the day, and that led to a sell-off that brought us down to the volume weighted average price from this October 4th gap, and that's the level that I had pointed out earlier in the week prior to it being hit as my first level of interest on a VWAP level. So as it hit that level, that was also of course the low. We saw a significant bounce there, so when we see that, we hand off or layer the VWAP, and that's also from a significant psychological point, as that was the near-term low. Well, yesterday we held above that level all day, although below the volume weighted average price for the week, volume weighted average price from the high, and the 5-day moving average is declining. I consider rally attempts as guilty till proven innocent. Doesn't mean there aren't some great opportunities for very short-term scalpers to make some good moves, but the path of least resistance is lower. This morning we gapped below the volume weighted average price from this low earlier in the week, and then what we can do is take a look at the action subsequent on the 1-minute chart. Let me just clear that off. I don't know how that got there. Here's today's volume weighted average price. And you can see we initially gapped lower. Buyers tried to take control. They were unable to do so. The sellers came back in below the volume weighted average price. The sellers were in control. You could have shorted at that point with a stop above the high of the day, and then maybe covered over here, or as it broke this little pattern of lower highs. Anyways, not to get too granular, that volume weighted average price looked like it was going to hold as support. Well, that support broke. Support tested, it held as resistance here, and now the sellers are back in control again on the shorter term time frame. What we can do here is kind of what we did on the larger time frame. Here's today's volume weighted average price. We tested that, so we can layer or hand off a volume weighted average price here, and now you could even go in and say, that your stop, if you're short in here, could be above this volume weighted average price rather than wait for it to go all the way to the daily volume weighted average price. If we look at the 15-minute time frame once again, this volume weighted average price from the October 4th gap was tested. If what we see is something similar to this, I think your next level of interest is down near about 960. That's the volume weighted average price from the September 20th gap.